Welcome to Trustee Training, an overview of roles, a six-part training session presented by the State Library of Iowa. This session covers Part 2, Hiring and Evaluating the Library Director. The State Library of Iowa provides consultation, education, information, and support to all of Iowa's public libraries, to staff, directors, and trustees. These videos are presented by the State Library of Iowa's District Consultants. My name is Misty Gray, and I'm the District Consultant for Southwest Iowa. We consultants are available to answer your questions and provide educational opportunities for your board. In addition to our consultation services, the State Library of Iowa also has a Trustee's Handbook, which we encourage every trustee to read. You can find the handbook on the State Library's website at statelibraryofiowa.gov. In these videos, we will provide a quick look at each of the board's top 5 roles or responsibilities as explained in the Trustee's Handbook. In this session, we'll be looking at Part 2, Hiring and Evaluating the Director. You can find the remaining videos on the State Library's website. Even if you stop into the library on a regular basis, you may not be aware of all the responsibilities a library director has. Let's take a moment to review the primary responsibilities, keeping in mind that these may vary depending on the size and needs of your community. A list would likely include act as a professional and technical advisor to the library board on all aspects of the library, hire and supervise any other staff, implement and interpret board policy to staff and the public, administer the library budget, develop the physical and electronic collections, manage library services and programming, supervise and possibly provide outreach services to the community, manage and maintain the physical facility, represent the library in the community, instruct users how to access, evaluate, and use information resources, help readers find a good book, answer reference questions, and yes, check out books. Now that we've touched on the responsibilities of a director, you understand how important it is to plan well before hiring this vital role and vital member of your team. Start the hiring process with a preliminary assessment. The board must reach consensus on what they want a new director to accomplish and what qualifications are needed in a director for the library at this point in time. In order to do this, the board needs to discuss the following questions. What is the role of the library in the community? Have community needs changed, and has the library kept pace? What direction does a library need to go? What qualifications are needed in the next director? What is the reason for the job opening? Was the previous director dissatisfied? And if so, why? Was the board dissatisfied with the previous director? And if so, why? Next, you'll want to develop a timeline which incorporates other aspects of hiring that you'll want to think about. Let's build that timeline now. The board as a whole can function as a search committee, but an alternative is to form a committee of board members with fewer members than would constitute a quorum. If a search committee is appointed, be sure the duties of the committee and the deadlines are clear. Obtain a copy of the current job description. If no written job description exists, the board will need to write one before continuing with the hiring process. Review it to ensure that it includes the following information: minimum requirement for education and previous work experience, primary management duties, desirable areas of expertise, including technology skills, salary and benefits, probationary period, physical and environmental requirements of the job. The job description should be used to write the job advertisement. The advertisement should be as comprehensive as possible. You'll also want to reach out to your human resources department or City Hall to make sure the board is following practices for hiring in your community. Your library director will be city staff, after all. While there is no state statute or regulation that explicitly mandates how long to advertise, the Veterans Preference Law requires cities to post a public notice of the application deadline to fill a public job at least 10 days prior to that deadline. The job advertisement should be publicized widely. In addition to advertising in local newspapers and other venues, you are welcome to send your notice to the state library job list to be posted at no cost. As applications arrive, each should be marked with the date of arrival to determine whether it falls within your timeline. Before applications are reviewed, evaluation criteria should be developed and used to rank them. It is helpful to develop a form that can be used by each member of the search committee. The board must discuss applications in open session when determining which candidates will be contacted for an interview. The board can choose to code candidates such as candidates A, B, and C, or some other designation early in the process. Once the board has chosen which applicants will be interviewed, each of those candidates should be notified. Prior to the interviews, the search committee should consider providing all candidates with an information packet about the library and community. Interviews should be conducted in standalone sessions, not regular board meetings, in which the interviews are the only business before the board. If an interview is conducted during a closed session in accordance with Iowa Code 21.5, be sure the board follows all requirements of holding the closed session. Develop a list of questions to be asked of every candidate interviewed, and be sure to apply the questions consistently, even if the interview team is familiar with the candidates. Check with your city to see if there are any required questions for city employment. Please note that it is illegal to ask certain questions of candidates. For more information about interviewing, look at Iowa Workforce Development's website. During the interview process, it is helpful to use your page of interview questions to record candidate responses and search committee impressions. Once all of the finalists have been interviewed, the search committee can then compare their notes, discussing and ranking finalists. Check the references before offering the position to a candidate. When calling references, agreed upon questions should be asked with space on the questionnaire to record responses. The search committee may want to seek out references other than those provided by the applicant. Be aware, some employers will only verify such things as dates of employment and last salary earned. Finally, decide if one or more of the candidates should be offered the job or if the search committee needs to reopen the position. The top candidate should be offered the position by telephone. When a candidate accepts a position, follow up with a letter of agreement indicating the date employment begins, salary, benefits, and other pertinent details. The board may want to consider a formal employment contract. Soon after the job offer has been accepted, notify the other candidates. After hiring a director, you and the board might feel like you have just run a marathon, but you've only just begun. Building a strong and lasting relationship with your director will take time, but it is so worthwhile. One tool to use to develop that relationship is by evaluating your director. Trustees evaluate the director informally all the time. Library boards should plan to formally evaluate the director annually, although you might choose to evaluate at 4 or 6 months in the first year. Many library boards develop their own evaluation tool for the director, and that is fine. You should also check with your city to see if there's a form in use for other city department heads that you can adapt. You might wonder, what do you use to evaluate the effectiveness of your director? The best way to evaluate the director's job performance is to use the current job description. This is why it is so important to review the job description when planning to hire. If you opt for a closed session as a part of the evaluation process, Remember to be compliant with Iowa Code 21.5. Board members are subject to complying with Iowa's open meeting laws and can be fined if found to circumvent Iowa law. All decisions, including pay increases and accepting the evaluation, must be done in open session. For better or for worse, the library board decides how to evaluate the director. What's great is that there are so many options. What's not so great is that you have so many options. The challenge for the board is to find the right evaluation tool for your situation. You might choose to hold the evaluation with the full board during an open board meeting. You might go with an evaluation committee. And even if you decide to have an evaluation committee conduct the evaluation, common practice would be to have all board members participate in completing an evaluation tool. Maybe you want to incorporate 360-degree feedback, or you might have a completely different evaluation method in mind. Whatever you decide to do, make sure your evaluation lets your director know what they're doing well and what needs improvement. I would encourage you to provide ample feedback and areas of improvement so that your director understands board expectations. If you have other questions regarding evaluating your director, please reach out to your district consultant. He or she can offer guidance. This concludes this session. We hope you'll watch all the sessions in the series, which are all available on the State Library's website at statelibraryofiowa.gov.